It was a cold, crisp evening when Priya moved into her grandmother's old house. Nestled in a quiet village, the house had stood abandoned for years, but now it was hers. She hadn't been there in over a decade, but the memories flooded back as she stepped across the creaking wooden floorboards. There were whispers about the house in the village, rumors about strange things that happened in the attic. Priya didn't believe in such tales. She was a rational person, after all. After settling in, she decided to explore the attic, which had always been off-limits when she was a child. She climbed the narrow staircase that led up to the attic, its old steps groaning under her weight. As she reached the top, a wave of dust hit her, and she had to cough to clear her throat. The room was dim, lit only by the sliver of light coming through a small window. In the corner of the attic stood a large antique mirror, one her grandmother had always kept covered. Curious, Priya approached it. She had no recollection of ever seeing this mirror before, but something about it seemed familiar. As her fingers brushed the dusty surface, the mirror's glass shimmered faintly. Priya leaned in, and suddenly she felt a cold chill run down her spine. She didn't know why, but the reflection in the mirror wasn't hers. Instead, it was a figure of a woman standing behind her. Frozen, Priya turned quickly, but there was nothing there. The attic was empty. Her heart began to race. What was going on? She looked back at the mirror. The woman in the reflection now smiled at her, her eyes gleaming with a strange, unsettling intensity. Priya tried to step back, but her feet felt like they were glued to the floor. It was as if the reflection had control over her. The woman in the mirror slowly raised a hand, pointing directly at Priya. Her lips moved as if she was whispering something, but no sound reached Priya's ears. Suddenly, Priya felt a sharp tug at her chest, like something was pulling her toward the mirror. Her body resisted, but it was no use. With every passing second, she was drawn closer. In a desperate attempt to break free, Priya forced herself to look away, but as she did, the mirror seemed to grow larger, swallowing the room in its reflection. The woman now stood in front of her, and Priya could feel her icy breath on her neck. "Leave this place," the woman's voice echoed in her ears. With all the strength she had left, Priya managed to tear herself away from the mirror. She stumbled backward, nearly falling to the floor. The room grew dark, and the mirror's glow slowly dimmed, as if it was losing its power over her. But Priya knew she couldn't stay any longer. She ran out of the attic, slamming the door shut behind her. That night, Priya couldn't sleep. Her mind raced with questions. Who was the woman in the mirror? Why was she haunting the attic? In the morning, she decided to get some answers. She visited the village elders, who told her the chilling story of the house. The mirror had once belonged to her great-great-grandmother, a woman rumored to practice dark rituals. She had made a pact with a vengeful spirit, and the mirror became a conduit between the living and the dead. Every generation, the spirit would claim someone from the family to keep the pact alive. Priya's heart sank as she realized what she was facing. The spirit had been waiting for her return. That night, she didn't dare go near the attic again, but the mirror's reflection haunted her. As she lay in bed, she could swear she saw a shadow moving in the corner of her room. A whispering voice echoed in her ears, growing louder with every passing second. "You can't escape me." Priya never returned to the house again. It was abandoned once more, the mirror covered, and the attic door locked tight. But the villagers whispered that the spirit still roamed the house, waiting for the next unwitting soul to claim. And somewhere in the darkness, the mirror quietly reflected the secrets of those it had trapped forever.